After a move to Nebraska, Chicago native Shavante Green is hoping for a fresh start.
Shavante was looking for that person that would make her life complete.
But things turn sour when she meets a man who brings her dark side into the light.
The specifics are excruciating to describe. It was a night of horror.
She had been so manipulated by Ronald that she was just willing to do whatever he wanted her to do.
And in Cleveland, Ohio, Letitia Santos has finally found a man who makes her heart flutter.
She was really happy. She was always smiling. They were just really the best of friends.
But staying loyal is a tall order when he drives her to do the unthinkable.
Letitia was afraid of Stefan. She feared for her life, and she was going to do anything to keep Stefan happy.
The choice she made by sticking by him, she lost a lot. And now she has to just pay the price.
There are hundreds of thousands of women in prison at any given time in the U.S. These are the true stories of women who committed heinous crimes in the name of love. For my man. Hailing from the hardened inner-city streets of Chicago, Illinois, Shavante Green is a tough nut to crack.
Shavante grew up in a home with 4 siblings, 2 younger sisters and 1 younger brother. She was a straight-A student, very motivated, but she was just a little bit introverted.
Although she's the oldest of her brood, Shavante's a loner by nature. Instead of going out on dates like her siblings, she spends her time locked away in her room.
She didn't feel like she fit in with the family, that she wasn't like her sisters and brothers. So I think that was probably a difficult time for her.
It only gets harder when at age 16, Shavante's single mom meets a man she falls in love with and uproots the family to go live with her new boyfriend 470 miles away in Omaha, Nebraska.
It's hard enough being a teenager as it is, and coming from one state to another state would be difficult to get used to for her.
Things are not as motivating for her. The grades start to plummet. She is recessed in her own mind that this is not where she wants to be.
What is wrong with you, young lady?
Things go from bad to worse when in high school, Mom breaks things off with the man she relocated her family for.
I need you to do good in school, okay? What else do you want me to do? You know I don't. It doesn't matter whether or not you want to.
After Shavante's mom's boyfriend broke up with her, she kind of went into a tailspin. And she was so distraught that she couldn't even connect with her children, especially Shavante.
Okay, fine.
Shavante was lashing out by sleeping with anyone, anywhere, anytime. That was her way of rebelling to what had happened in her life.
And her promiscuity soon leads her into the arms of a silver-tongued man she meets while attending a party one afternoon at a neighbor's house. 24-year-old Ronald Ford.
Like most young girls, she liked what she was hearing from this smooth-talking, smooth-walking young man. Good-looking guy, may not be the tall, dark, and handsome, but in her eyes, he is exactly what she's looking for.
Shavante soon falls madly in love, even though her new man's shining armor is a bit tarnished.
Ronald was unemployed, living with his mother. He had a criminal background, but the attention that she got from Ronald, the way that he initially made her feel in their relationship, was probably very wonderful for Shavante.
Ronald Ford was a parent's nightmare. That's why fathers and mothers keep shotguns by their beds for guys like Ronald Ford.
It doesn't take long for him to lay down the law. From the get-go, he likes being in charge and tells Shavante exactly how to live her life, including who she can and can't be friends with.
Ronald was very demanding. He would tell Shavante that she couldn't do this or could do that.
Ronald had some real cards that he could hold in order to keep Shavante in his spell. First of all, he was older, and that's a world of difference. You're talking about more of a seasoned adult versus a teenager.
For the first time since moving to Nebraska, the 17-year-old is actually content.
She was looking for Mr. Right, but quite often settled for all of the Mr. Wrongs. And now here was a guy, Ronald, who she believed really loved her back, and this was life-changing for her.
As time passes, the couple becomes inseparable, and she continues to do anything he suggests, including the hard drugs that he's addicted to.
Ronald was a crystal meth user, and he introduced that to Shavante, which changed her world.
Shavante's family started noticing she would be doing things that weren't necessarily in her character, even becoming more withdrawn.
For the next year, Shavante lives in a drug-induced haze. The now 18-year-old somehow manages to graduate high school and moves in with her deadbeat boyfriend. The pair applies for Section 8, a government-assisted housing program.
Section 8 housing is dependent upon the income and the ability for an individual to have a job, so they get subsidized housing. It allows a person to be able to establish their own domain.
Meanwhile, Ronald finds unique ways to pay for their apartment and addiction. For as long as Shavante's been with her man, he's had an obsession with electronics. And stealing them to sell them is also his only source of income.
He had a big thing for computers and laptops, anything that was of a value that he thought he could unload very quickly. So these were the items that Ron would sell to support both his habit and now the developing habit of Shavante.
She did not have a job. She was not going to school, and it seemed as though she was okay with that lifestyle.
In fact, the happy couple is content to spend their days sleeping and smoking meth.
It was about drugs, it was about sex, and it was about pleasing each other.
But love doesn't pay the bills. And when only a few dollars come trickling in, Shavante finds out just how far Ronald will go to fund their crippling drug habits.
Desperate people do desperate things, and this turned into something unspeakable.
Shavante would do anything to maintain this relationship with her.
Chicago native Shavante Green has finally found love after relocating to Omaha, Nebraska. However, her squeeze Ronald Ford isn't much to write home about.
Doesn't have a job, doesn't even have the potential of getting a job. He's addicted to crystal meth. He doesn't know how he's going to pay for it. He burglarizes, he steals to get his hands on things that he could easily sell.
But Ronald's devious ways come with a price. For the next 5 years, he begins a string of arrests. He's in and out of prison for various offenses, ranging from cocaine possession to burglary to receiving stolen property.
No matter how many times Ronald was incarcerated, no matter how many prison sentences that he had to serve, Shavante remained loyal to him, and he still had a place to go every time he got out.
Before long, the couple is back to their old selves, looking for ways to pay for drugs. And that's when a desperate Ronald comes up with a plan to sell a stolen laptop he's been tinkering with.
And then he went to a friend of his and asked this friend if he knew anyone that would want to buy this laptop.
They software and everything, man. That's all you got?
The friend, Keith Driver, agrees to pay $400 for the laptop.
Call me tomorrow, I got you the rest.
Keith provides Ron $20 in good faith that I'll be back with the additional monies. Leave this to me, you can go back home, and I'll get in touch with you when I'll have your money.
Ronald gives Keith a day to come up with the remaining $380. But when he doesn't hear a peep from the middleman, Ronald grows antsy, certain he's being stiffed.
I need my laptop, okay? Playing games.
So he tells Shavante that he's going to go back to Keith's house and he's going to look for Keith.
And much to her surprise, Ronald says she's going to help him get his money.
Ronald was including her in one of his outings. She was being considered not just an assistant, but a partner.
Under the cover of darkness, the couple drives 2 miles to Keith's home on the edge of town. Though they're met by someone they're not expecting, Keith's girlfriend, Jackie, who's home alone. Ronald explains that Keith owes him money for the computer, and he's not leaving until he gets it.
She lets them into the house. They kind of hang out for a while Shavante and Ronald wait for Keith to arrive back.
Trouble is, Jackie says she's not sure where her boyfriend went or when he'll be home. And it sets the computer salesman off.
Ronald starts getting more and more agitated. He is now picking up things in their house that he thinks would be of value to him for the money that Keith owes him.
And that's when the mood changes. Jackie now becomes a little bit agitated, and she tends to tell Ron to stop touching things. Leave my property alone.
Hush.
When Shavante hears Jackie's hostile tone, her claws come jutting out.
This made Shavante very angry. The fact that Jackie was yelling at her man.
And she starts to slap or punch Jackie in the face, and at a point she punches her hard enough to knock her down to the floor.
Ronald is undeterred by the victim's cries for help, as he starts stuffing his duffel bag with CD players, stereos, and as many electronics as he can get his hands on. Meanwhile, Shavante keeps a watchful eye on Jackie, making sure she doesn't try anything foolish.
She's in this now to the end. She's committed, and there is nothing that's going to tear her away from defending her man.
That's when the couple decides it's time to leave Keith's place and go look for the man himself.
Ronald and Shavante led her and forced her to enter their vehicle.
Jackie is certain they'll find Keith and disappear before anyone else gets hurt. Unfortunately, the conniving couple has a more sinister idea of how this night will play out.
The specifics are excruciating to describe. It was a night of horror.
And later, in Cleveland, Ohio, Letitia Santos will also learn that following a bad boy's lead can land you in a world of trouble.
Stefan had a lot of rage, and this rage ended in the most violent way.
She thought that this was her knight in shining armor, and then here he is, this crazed lunatic.
Get over here.
Even in the early stages of their relationship, when Ronald and Shavante were taking a break from each other, her lover proved he had a propensity for violence.
Ronald showed up to Shavante's house one day, and Shavante was having sexual relations with another man. He became so angry at that time that he actually beat up this man bad enough where the man ended up in the intensive care unit.
In Omaha, Nebraska, Shavante Green and her boyfriend, Ronald Ford, have kidnapped the girlfriend of Keith Driver, a man they think is stiffing them on payment for a computer. But instead of going to find Keith to get their money, the couple has other plans. They drive back to Shavante's, and once they arrive, Ronald grabs Jackie and forces her into the living room.
Once they get into that house, things just escalate even further. At that point, Ronald and Shavante put Jackie into a closet.
Ronald tells his girlfriend to wait in the neighboring bedroom. He then shuts the door behind him and turns his attention to Jackie in the most sadistic way possible.
Yeah, where keep that now?
Ronald told Jackie, "Take your clothes off."
There, he tortures her with reckless abandon.
Bring me my chain.
He had sodomized her with a table leg. He put a cigarette butt out on her back. He hit her with a chain, just brutally attacked Jackie for hours in that closet while Shavante was standing by and actually assisting him.
So no matter what he asked, no matter what his demands are, I'm going to do whatever it takes to support this man that I love.
When Ronald tires of the vicious assault, he allows his victim to take a bath as a stoic Shavante looks on.
Shavante had every opportunity to help this woman. She didn't help her, she didn't assist her, she didn't make him stop and make this stop. She did nothing.
But Shavante will have to think fast when she finds out what's playing out across town. Keith has just arrived home, and he's stunned to see the disarray at his place.
It had clearly been gone through quickly. He also immediately knew that his girlfriend was not there. He was concerned about her.
Keith has a sinking feeling he knows who's to blame, given that he owes Ronald money.
So he calls the police immediately. That is possibly over a computer deal that's gone wrong. Now this really gets interesting. Keith leads the police to the residence of Shavante in Tehran Fort.
Realizing the jig is up, the lovebirds quickly come up with a story they hope officers will believe.
They put her in Shavante's clothing. If the police asked her anything, Jackie was told that she needed to tell them that her boyfriend Keith beat her up. And these two people, Shavante and Ronald, saved her.
It was a complete act of desperation by dressing up Jackie in Shavante's clothes.
Knowing it's her only way of escape, Jackie agrees, and Shavante quickly shoves her out the door, slamming it shut behind her. Immediately, Jackie goes off script.
After Jackie was allowed to leave, she obviously told her boyfriend, Keith, and also the police officers what happened when she was inside.
As Jackie's rushed to the hospital, the door again creaks open and Shavante pokes her head out. Police push their way in and search the house, but can't find her fellow assailant.
Ronald, boy!
Just then, officers hear a rustling sound coming from the bedroom.
As they proceed to enter the bedroom, they see a piece of furniture that's in an odd place. They move the furniture and, behold, they find Ronald Fort. He's apprehended. He's taken off.
The pair is immediately cuffed and taken into custody. At the PD, they're questioned separately, and the strong bond they once had for each other starts to crumble.
Ronald specifically was indicating that nothing he did was non-consensual. Shavante, on the other hand, she would admit to assisting him, handing him things or bringing him things, but not in more active participation.
With the deck stacked against them, Shavante pleads guilty to kidnapping, tampering with physical evidence, and second-degree assault. Ronald pleads guilty to kidnapping, first-degree sexual assault, use of a weapon to commit a felony, and second-degree assault.
Shavante was an active participant throughout this night. She never tried to stop what was happening to her and instead took an active role in victimizing this woman. It was an excruciating experience that no one can even imagine enduring at the hands of these two individuals.
For their actions, Shavante is sentenced to 51 to 65 years in prison, while Ronald receives a heftier sentence of 80 to 130 years with the possibility of parole. For Shavante, her quest for love cost her more than just a broken heart.
Shavante lost everything that night by the choices that she made to carry out these acts with Ronald. She lost her family and she lost her freedom.
While incarcerated, Shavante shows little remorse for the heinous crime she helped commit.
Shavante certainly had made some really poor decisions in her life. This perhaps was the worst. All of it because she thought it was about love.
She was under the influence of two things that night: methamphetamines and Ronald Ford.
I can't say where Shavante's life would have taken her without Ronald Ford's influence in it. But that night, Shavante was in that house and did these things that changed this woman's life forever.
Shavante's dreams of having a man all to herself went up in smoke when she followed her heart directly into darkness. And in Cleveland, Ohio, Letitia Santos is also driven to a life of crime by a man who stole her heart. At just 17 years old, Letitia Santos is living a charmed life in Brockton, Massachusetts, just 25 miles south of Boston.
Letitia was an only child. She lived with her mom, my auntie Sandra, and my uncle Manny. and they just spoiled her rotten. They were really good to her.
The high school junior has always kept her nose in a textbook, but these days, she's gearing up for life after school with her first true love, Darby Fulcher.
This was the man of her dreams. She was so infatuated with him. They were like the best of friends.
Following graduation, the couple moves in together and over the years welcomes 2 beautiful children into the world. Though after 7 years of wedded bliss, the storybook romance begins a heartbreaking chapter.
She found out that he was cheating on her, and it broke her heart. After the breakup, she lost her dad. He died of a heart attack. That right there was a big blow for Letitia. She lost 2 of the most important men in her life.
To cope, Letitia hits the bottle, turning to drugs and alcohol to numb the pain.
When you're rejected as a young woman, it can cause all sorts of emotional damage. All the ideas that you have as to what healthy love is all about is thrown out the window.
And that's when the rest of her world crumbles.
Letitia loses custody of her children because she can't keep them in a stable environment.
Without her kids, her ex, or her deceased father, Letitia is left to wander through life alone. But it doesn't take long for her to grab the hand of a man nearly 700 miles away, who leads Letitia down an even darker path.
Stefan appeared to be someone who would care for Letitia. However, there was another side to him that she didn't know about.
Do you know who you're talking to?
He was just so manipulative that, she just couldn't resist him.
Massachusetts native Letitia Santos is hoping for a fresh start after being dumped by her kid's father and having her children taken away by the state. Fortunately, she has some loving family members in Ohio who welcome her with open arms.
Letitia called me one day and asked if she could come live with me in Cleveland because she needed a new start. She wanted new surroundings so that she can get custody of her children back. That was her main goal, and I was all for it.
Letitia packs her bags and makes the 700-mile trek to the Buckeye State. Over the next 6 months, the young mother on the mend sobers up and gets acquainted with her new surroundings. Though finding work without a college degree isn't as easy as she hoped.
Took her a few times to try to get jobs, but she seemed to never laid her foot down on one.
So she falls back on the one thing she has going for her, her striking good looks.
Letitia was desperate for cash. She knew how to dance, she knew how to work her body, and her attitude to make money to survive.
So she began to dance at popular clubs near downtown.
Unfortunately, not everyone is excited to see Letitia take center stage.
I said, well, girl, you gotta be careful now, because a lot of stuff goes on in them strip joints. I said, because there's a lot of bad things going around there.
She needed the money, and in her mind, she could be treated like a goddess. And this made her feel really good. It was a self-medication in building up her self-esteem.
But the real trouble begins when she bumps into Stefan Davis, a patron with plenty of dollar bills and even more desire for the club's newest dancer.
He was handsome and he was charming, He had this smile that just lit up the room, and it made you feel like, wow, he's a nice guy.
He knew the right things to say. In the Midwest, we call that a mouthpiece.
But Stefan proves to be less than meets the eye.
He portrayed himself as a high roller, but he lived in a basement of his parents' house, and he was often borrowing money from people.
Though bunking with his folks is surely an upgrade from the juvenile penitentiary he called home for 9 years.
Stefan was a very troubled person. He raped a teenager when he was a teenager. He eventually murdered a relative's boyfriend, and he spent time in the penal system. And once he was released as an adult, he was convicted again of selling crack cocaine.
After serving his time, the 24-year-old becomes a regular at the club. and now spends all his cash on VIP dances with Letitia. The two become friendly, and Stefan whispers enough sweet nothings to pique the dancer's interest.
Letitia told me that she met a guy that she was really crazy about. I could hear it in her voice that he was the guy who was going to take care of her and help her get her on track.
She had been treated badly. She had significant losses as far as male figures in her life, and she was broke. And here was an opportunity to do much, much better, at least in her own mind.
But after just a few months of dating, his true colors emerge.
You hear me? I said don't work for him.
Not only is he hooked on drugs, Stefan doesn't like Letitia going anywhere without him, or talking to other guys. And when she does, he makes her pay.
Sit your ass down before I knock you out.
It went downhill so quickly. We started seeing bruises on Letitia. She would have black eyes or black and blue marks on her arms.
One day, she came in, and I was like, what happened to you? Is this guy whooping on you? And she was like this, no, that was an accident. I said, well, accident? Ain't no accident. It's like somebody hit you in your face.
Time and time again, Letitia returns to her man's controlling arms, though she struggles to deal with the continued abuse.
The relationship was really stressful, so she got to a point where, she just threw her hands up and went ahead and started using again, doing the drugs and alcohol.
It's like falling off that wagon and finding the most convenient way to feel better. But at the end of the day, all you end up doing is exacerbating the problem, making it worse with that chemical addiction.
And when she can't figure out where to get her next fix, Stefan decides to use Letitia's dependency to his advantage. It's Easter Sunday, and he has no plans of hunting for eggs. He'd rather go out partying. But Stefan's car is in the shop, and Letitia doesn't own a vehicle. So he buzzes an ex-girlfriend, Alyssa Wagner, to bum some wheels for the night.
What did borrow your van have to do with you going to work?
She worked a late shift, so it was worked out where Alyssa would go and pick him up, and then they would both drive to her work together, and then he could take the car and have it for as long as he wanted that evening.
After dropping his ex off at work around 6:30, Stefan meets Letitia for a night on the town.
The first thing that the two of them did was go and pick up a bottle of liquor and sit and drink it in the car. They went back multiple times to get just full bottles of liquor and drank it while they were driving around.
Around 1 a.m., things take a chilling turn. Stefan is late to hit the brakes while approaching a red light and rear-ends an SUV driven by 31-year-old Angel Bradley Crockett, who was on her way to meet some friends.
Stefan made several observations about Angel. He noticed that she was very nicely clothed. He also looked at her SUV. It was a high-end SUV.
It's not even my car. What are you doing?
Intoxicated Stefan is adamant that Angel is at fault, even though he slammed into her and demands payment to fix his vehicle. Angel is terrified by his hostility and offers to throw him a few dollars until they can work this out. But the second she reaches into her handbag, Stefan gets a glint in his eye.
He saw some money, either in Angel's wallet or in her purse, and thought that she had some money to steal, and so he decided he was going to rob her. Letitia's response to him was, okay, why not?
Stefan drags her to the van, and he tells Letitia to go into Angel's vehicle and to take any items that are of value.
She just was so influenced by Stefan and so manipulated by him. She had nowhere else to turn.
Following an inebriated fender bender on the streets of Cleveland, Letitia Santos and her boyfriend Stefan Davis have taken the driver of the other car, Angel Bradley Crockett, hostage. And Stefan makes it clear that he wants more than just Angel's dime to pay for the damage. And Letitia is going to help him get it.
Letitia went to Angel's vehicle, looked around, didn't find any money, and came back and let Stefan know.
That's when she sees just how enraged her hot-tempered boyfriend has become.
Stop screaming.
What are you doing?
Shut up!
He had Angel in the back. He was demanding oral sex, then demanding sex from her and also beating her at the same time. He was choking her. He was striking her. It was just a vicious beating all around.
Stefan then shifts the rest of his rage onto his girlfriend.
Shut up! Shut up! Come on, baby, you love it.
He forced Letitia, after punching her in the mouth, to also have sex with him.
No!
She had no choice. She was frightened of him. She was frightened for her life.
She had been beaten by him in the past, and when he told her to do something, she did it.
An exasperated Stefan orders Letitia to get dressed and start driving, leaving Angel's SUV behind.
Stefan knew that he could get away with raping Letitia with no problem because he controlled her. But with Angel, he takes it a step further because he knows that Angel would likely call the authorities.
Stefan tells his girlfriend to head for Interstate 90, a familiar road near his mother's house. When they reach the West 44th Street overpass, he tells Letitia to pull over.
Letitia looked back. She heard the sounds of someone being strangled. She saw that Stefan had a string, like a shoestring, and it was wrapped around Angel's neck.
She knew what he was capable of. However, she, in her wildest imagination, never thought that he could do something so violent. She was still very afraid of Stefan from their past history of domestic violence. But now, with this shocking turn of events, she was immobilized emotionally.
After that, she didn't hear any more sounds from Angel.
With the job done, Stefan opens the van's side door and drags Angel's lifeless body onto the gravel. He hops back inside and demands that Letitia drive to her place to grab some cleaning supplies.
After the two of them were involved in this heinous murder, they tried to bleach the vehicle, the CSI effect.
There was blood everywhere, so they had to get it cleaned. They had to, at some point, give it back to Alyssa, and they needed to get rid of the evidence.
Letitia was disconnected from what reality was. She was not Letitia. It was just like she was his puppet. Anything that he said she would do.
Satisfied they've covered their tracks, the pair returns to the initial crime scene to retrieve Angel's vehicle. Stefan tells Letitia to get rid of the stolen SUV while he returns the minivan to his ex. Letitia parks the SUV 3 doors down from her cousin's house and strolls home, hoping to avoid any more trouble.
When she walked into the house, she had this kind of white t-shirt. It was torn across the collar, and it had like spots of blood on it. I said, "What happened to you?" She said, "I got pushed out of a van, and Stefan pulled me back in." And I said, "Girl, you need to clean yourself up."
Meanwhile, on the other side of town, Alyssa has just finished her night shift. When she arrives home after getting a ride from a coworker, she finds Stefan waiting in the driveway, along with her mangled van.
When she saw the condition of the minivan, she confronted Stefan about the piece of the fender that was hanging out underneath it. He really didn't have an excuse. He was defensive. He fought back. He argued with her, and he walked away down the street. And that was the end of it.
But when she looks in the vehicle herself, she gets the shock of her life.
She was upset and certainly was horrified by some of the things that had gone on in the minivan.
I don't understand how someone I thought was so in love with my cousin was such a devil.
During their most desperate times, Stefan would stop at nothing to find ways to pay for his and Letitia's drug addictions.
When she would be at work and there would be men there that wanted to, pay for sex with her, he would tell Letitia to go ahead, and they basically set this guy up to be robbed.
As Letitia Santos hides out at her cousin's place following an unspeakable murder, her boyfriend Stefan Davis returns his ex-girlfriend's van, dented and dinged. While Stefan hoofs it home in a huff, Alyssa decides to peek inside the van's rear compartment, and she's blown away by what's left behind.
She found that it had blood inside of it, and there were pieces of rug that were still in the van when she let Stefan use it that were no longer there. So she certainly suspected that something violent happened in that van, that somebody tried to cover up.
Without thinking twice, Alyssa notifies police, who immediately give her vehicle a once-over. Meanwhile, detectives ask her for some additional information on the van's driver.
So Alyssa decided that she was going to tell the police who was actually using her minivan that evening.
Hoping for an explanation about the blood, detectives quickly uncover a list of Stefan's possible addresses, as well as his known acquaintances, including Letitia. But before detectives get a chance to track either of them down, a call comes in that blows the doors off their investigation.
Around 4:30 a.m., the police respond to the call that there's something on the highway.
The two officers who were dispatched to the scene discovered Angel's body on Interstate 90 in Cleveland.
She was beaten badly. She had abrasions, road rash. She had strangulation marks. Police knew that this was a homicide.
When I heard about it, it really shocked me. I was immediately looking at the both of them. I just had a feeling that they had something to do with that.
As detectives scour the scene to find some kind of connection, Stefan is holed up at his mother's house on the far side of town, while Letitia's still laying low at her cousin's.
The next morning, I tried to get her to tell me something, but she just wouldn't tell me anything.
Nothing happened last night. I told you already.
So I kept telling her over and over, well, you just need to tell me something, because something happened with you all the way you looked last night. I ain't never seen you like that before. And she's like, don't worry about it.
Following her half-hearted explanation, Letitia disappears and heads over to a friend's house. But she has some explaining to do when another call comes in to dispatchers 3 days after Angel's murder.
Police got a call that Angel's vehicle had been found, and when they went to the area, they noticed that the vehicle had been damaged.
Given that the SUV is found on Charter Avenue, just a few doors down from the home where Letitia's staying, police are certain there's a connection.
All of a sudden, all these cops pulled up in my yard, and they showed me this picture of Stefan. And they said, do you know this guy? And I said, oh, I know him. That's Stefan.
When's the last time you saw the show?
Investigators say they want to speak with the couple regarding a possible murder. So Cedric tells police everything he knows about his housemate's main man and where to find him. However, he's not sure where Letitia is. Just then, Cedric overhears the news that Stefan has just been nabbed at his mama's house.
I heard the radio say, we got him. We got him. I was shocked. Like, oh my God, this can't be real.
The next day, Cedric gets a call from his house guest.
Letitia called me and asked me to cover for her. Wanted me to say I was just drinking with her Sunday all night. And I told her I'm not covering for nothing, no one ever, because there's some serious business here.
Cedric immediately notifies police regarding his conversation with Letitia. However, he has no idea where she was calling from. So they immediately issue a warrant for her arrest. And 9 days later, Letitia turns herself into the local PD.
It wasn't real to find out that it's my cousin that committed this crime, this murder. It was devastating. It tore me apart.
With both suspects finally in custody, police interview them separately. First up is Stefan, who continues his smooth-talking ways.
His statement was that he had nothing to do with it, and neither did Letitia.
Neither did Letitia.
But when detectives sit down with Letitia and present her with the evidence, she doesn't think twice about flipping on her man.
It was all his idea. It's Stefan. He's the one that did it.
She certainly was pointing the finger at Stefan Davis as the person who committed this murder.
She was a classic victim of domestic violence, and this was her opportunity to come clean and to finally be free of Stefan, because deep down inside, she knew that they were a deadly combination, and he was a person who was extremely dangerous.
I just helped out because I was afraid.
Just to know that she has to deal with this in her life as well, it hurts. It hurts, and I just wish things were different.
Letitia exchanges her testimony for a lighter sentence. She pleads guilty to voluntary manslaughter, aggravated robbery, and abuse of a corpse, and is given 10 years in jail. When Stefan hears that his girl gave him up, he pleads guilty to aggravated murder and aggravated robbery. Stefan manages to avoid the death penalty and is sentenced to 40 years behind bars. From her cell, Letitia frequently reaches out to friends and family, hoping they'll one day be able to forgive her for her heinous actions.
She told me she regrets being with him, that he was her worst nightmare.
Letitia has to deal with the consequences from her decisions. She participated in a very brutal crime, and it doesn't matter if she wouldn't have done this if she had never had met Stefan. We all have choices in life, and Letitia made the wrong choice that night.
Because of her choice to be with this man, it cost Letitia her life, a relationship with her children. It cost her a future because she decided to be with this monster. It cost her everything.
In Virginia, Candice Martinez finds her place in the world in the arms of her college sweetheart.
Candice and Dave were inseparable. You saw one, you saw the other.
But when the teenagers run low on cash, Candice risks it all for love and becomes one of the nation's most well-known fugitives.
It was bold, brazen, it was unlike anything we'd ever seen.
She would have done just about anything for him because that's the only relationship she's really ever had.
And later, in Florida, Genet Rembert is a lost soul, working the streets, until she falls for a charming man with a dangerous proposal.
She had no one to turn to. He gave her what she thought was love.
Whenever he would snap her fingers, she would do whatever he said.
They treated these women no better than caged animals.
There are hundreds of thousands of women in prison at any given time in the U.S. These are the true stories of women who committed heinous crimes in the name of love. For my man. Candice Martinez's childhood stands in stark contrast to the vibrant tourist mecca of Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Candice really never had a chance. From the time she was born, she was a child, unfortunately, surrounded by neglect.
After her parents' divorce when she's 5, Candice bounces between a drug-addicted mother and an abusive father. By age 12, she drops out of school and spends most of her time on the street.
She was constantly in a state of change. Candice felt like she was alone in the world and she had to fend for herself.
Candice began drinking, using pills, using drugs, 12 years old, running the streets of Santa Fe.
Despite being on the streets, Candice knew that this wasn't the life that she really wanted and was smart enough to know that she needed to break that cycle.
Then one day, she finds a light at the end of the tunnel.
She saw a commercial for a famous home for wayward children in Nebraska.
With the help of a social worker, Candice moves 1,000 miles away from her broken life in New Mexico. And for the next 5 years, she thrives. She even graduates high school and at 18 years old enrolls in college. But just as everything seems to be going her way, her life takes a sinister turn.
She meets a guy, and this guy was abusive toward her, and this sent her in a spiral back into her old ways, and she didn't even complete her freshman year.
Candice was not prepared for life. She did not have those skills. When you don't have those skills, you do the best thing. You run away.
So she dropped out of school. She went right back to her bad lifestyle. Drugs, running the streets, partying, disappearing for weeks on end.
Part of this is because she was really never given the tools to cope with adversity, and the other part was this was something that she knew.
But the troubled 19-year-old gets a second chance at life when a cousin from the Washington, D.C. suburb of Burke, Virginia, invites her to come out east and live with her.
She offered her a way out to get your life together, go to school, get back on the right track.
Candice felt excited about the opportunity to once again start over. She felt like she could make a new her.
She packs up and heads to Virginia. Within just a few months, things are already looking up.
She got to work on remaking her life again. She got a job selling memberships at a gym.
She enrolled in the local community college. She was working on a degree in technology, radiological technology.
It might look like her days of making bad decisions are over, but they have just begun. That fall, while studying on campus, Candice eyes an attractive fellow student, 19-year-old Dave Williams.
He was handsome. He had a beautiful smile, long braids. Candice was definitely attracted.
Never one to be bashful with men, she prances over to him and strikes up a conversation.
Her pickup line was, "I like your hair, can you braid my hair like that?" And Dave thought that was pretty cool, and they began talking.
It's a brief encounter, but Candice is intrigued. The two exchange numbers and start to talk regularly. She can tell right away that Dave is different than the other guys she's dated.
He's an average guy. He shows her respect. He's nice to her. He's kind. He's courteous.
He didn't drink and he didn't do drugs. Dave seemed like just your standard suburban good kid.
He tells her he's studying engineering and admits that he's a bit of a mama's boy.
His parents had divorced, but they lived very close to each other, and Dave lived with both of them. Mainly he lived with his mother. He relied heavily on his mother.
He had a promising future ahead of him, and the icing on the cake was that he wanted her. He was all about her.
She can't believe how lucky she is. After only a few weeks of dating, the college freshmen spend every free moment together.
They were inseparable. They were actually infatuated with each other. It happened so fast.
But before these young lovers can ride off into the sunset, Dave gets some troubling news. His father, an assistant financial controller at a resort, is arrested for embezzlement and sent to jail for almost a year. Dave is devastated.
Dave's home life, which had been a solid rock for many years, was suddenly crumbling.
Candice does her best to be there for her boyfriend.
Why don't we move in together?
She thought that the best way for Dave to get out of this rut, this depression, was for them to move in together. They could be together 24/7. They could be happy.
After only a month of dating, the college couple gets an apartment in Chantilly, Virginia, 15 miles west of Burke. But soon realize they've bitten off more than they can chew.
They had no financial skills. If you rent a place, you have to pay the rent in a timely fashion every month. You have to sometimes pay the electricity, you have to pay the gas, you have to pay the water.
They virtually had no money. Dave didn't have a job. He was depressed about his family situation, and her job just wasn't paying enough for the bills.
Both Dave and Candice were young, they were naive, and bills were starting to pile up. They didn't know how to handle their finances. Money was running thin, and they were getting desperate.
That's when the good guy comes up with a dangerous solution to their problems.
He felt like his world was collapsing and that he needed to come up with a quick way to give them some financial solvency.
What's he gonna do?
Should we rob the bank?
He came up with a plan to get them some money fast.
They were crazy in love. She would have done anything for him.
In Chantilly, Virginia, Candice Martinez's college boyfriend, Dave Williams, comes up with a crazy plan for the young lovers to pay the bills.
So instead of like normal people and getting another job and finding a legal way of paying the rent, Dave suggested that they rob a bank.
At first, the 19-year-old thinks he's joking, but quickly realizes her man is dead serious.
Dave had worked in a bank before, and he knew how bank tellers worked, he made it clear to her how they could pull this off.
The former teller wants to hit his old bank, just 20 minutes away in Vienna, Virginia.
This was one where he had familiarity and was able to convey to Candice that there's a certain comfort level in terms of knowing who's in there, where the tellers are, how the security is set up.
She knows that if she's not down with the plan, she might risk losing the love of her life.
She had never had such a stable figure in her life as Dave was. And at this point, she wanted to preserve the relationship. And so she was willing to do anything that it took, even going along with this crazy idea of robbing a bank to keep that relationship alive.
Let's do this. Come on, let's rob a bank. Okay, get it. Hey, how much money do you think?
Excited, the two college students pull an all-nighter, but instead of cramming for exams, they prepare for their first ever bank heist.
They got on the computer and they typed up a note and printed it out. They cut it up and they put it on the front side of a shoebox so that the shoebox could be used to collect the money.
This was carefully planned out. He wanted to make sure that she felt secure.
The only snag is that if Dave sets foot in the bank, his former co-workers might recognize him.
So Candice sort of volunteered that she would do it.
I can do that. That's easy.
She agrees to fly solo inside the bank.
She wouldn't have to say anything. She could just hand the note over on the box and take the note back, not leaving any evidence.
And her boyfriend is confident that the teller will hand the cash right over. But in case anything goes wrong, he'll be right outside in the getaway car.
Dave told Candice it would be like stealing candy from a baby.
1 week later, the couple makes their move.
It was the middle of the day. They pull up to this bank. They're both in the car. It's really tense.
So Dave was worried. He wasn't going into the bank. Candice was going into the bank. So he had an idea, which was have her be on the cell phone. The two of them could be in constant contact during the robbery.
Candice grabs her cell, gives her man a quick kiss, and then casually gets out of the car. Dave keeps the engine running.
And so, before she went in for the robbery, he called her, and they were on the phone, and she is talking on the phone as she walks into the bank, carrying the box with the note on the front.
Despite all of their preparation, there's one precaution they didn't take.
There was no covering of Candice's face. They hadn't planned for that. They just were immature.
She felt that I'm nondescript anyway. I'm just a little Latin girl, and I'm like all the rest. No one will point me out. We all look alike.
The bold young woman enters the bank, holds the shoebox in one hand, and talks with Dave on her cell phone in the other.
Her entrance was excellent because it did not attract attention.
She looked like an average person making a deposit or dropping something off. No one would suspect that she was robbing this bank.
She does her best to avoid the cameras and approaches the first teller. Candice smiles and slides the box towards the teller, casually chatting with Dave all the while.
The note wanted $70,000, and it instructed the teller to hand it over, and that the robber had a gun, and that either the teller or the person next to the teller would get shot if the money wasn't handed over.
Terrified, the woman does as instructed.
The teller put as much money as she could into the box, as quickly as she could.
In the minutes that it took for Candice to rob this bank, the teller put in $14,480 in this shoebox.
Once outside, she walks briskly to the car, careful not to draw attention. The couple speeds off, elated at what they just did. Candice is amazed at how easy it is to pull off a bank robbery.
No police, no chases, no one got hurt, and they got a substantial amounts of money. So I'm sure they thought they hit payday.
To celebrate, the couple goes on a shopping spree.
All they could think of was spend, spend, spend. They spent it on designer purses, a car, TVs, electronics.
In just a week, thanks to their now lavish lifestyle, they quickly burn through their cash. But they have a foolproof way to solve that problem.
They decided to rob another bank.
Once Candice succeeded in the Vienna bank robbery, this improved her self-esteem, gave her some real power, and it made her feel much more valuable to be in this relationship with David.
Just 9 days after their first robbery, while authorities are trying to figure out who the mysterious robber is, the couple hits a bank from the same chain, 7 miles south in Manassas, Virginia.
The MO was the same. Dave was the getaway car guy, the same note, in the same box.
But this time, the bank robbing lovers are disappointed with the haul.
They got, I think, $3,200 out of that. Wasn't a big hit. Gotten $14,000 before, so they quickly decided to do another robbery.
The very next day, they strike again. This time, a bank 20 miles east in Springfield, and things are much more tense.
The teller was really slow. She was nervous. She was afraid. And Candice got more bold and cocky.
Candice said, "Speed it up."
Speed it up, or someone's gonna get hurt.
The teller puts the money in the box. They get about $6,000 from this robbery, and Candice escapes.
Because they didn't get as much money as they wanted to in the last robbery, they know that they really need to step it up. And by doing this, she's feeling stronger, more accomplished, braver.
Candice doesn't hide her identity during any of the robberies. And lucky for her, any images the bank cameras happen to capture are useless.
The banks had not gotten a good image of her. The technology of surveillance cameras in banks was not great.
All the authorities have to go on is a vague description of the brash bank robber. With 3 heists in 3 weeks, they're on a roll and hungry for more, so the young lovers plan their next move. But Dave wants to up the ante. He hands Candice a .38 caliber revolver.
This time they really went for a big hit, and somebody was going to get hurt.
And later, in Hollywood, Florida, Genet Rembert learns that following your heart can have dire consequences.
McKinley had a power over Genet. All she cared about was him and what he wanted.
He gave her what she thought was love.
The teller that Candice robbed in their second robbery was traumatized.
She lost sleep. She had flashbacks. She didn't trust anyone. The emotional scars will always be with those tellers because they were scared for their life.
In Northern Virginia, after successfully robbing 3 banks in 3 weeks, Candice Martinez and her boyfriend Dave Williams are not about to slow down, and the young lovers look to raise the stakes.
This time, Dave gave Candice a gun, a .38. He apparently borrowed the gun from his stepdad, not telling the stepdad what he was going to be using it for.
He gave her a gun because if she had one, the tellers would probably respond faster, give her more money.
Just a week after their last robbery, one afternoon the outlaw lovers drive 20 minutes to a bank in Ashburn, Virginia. While Dave idles by the entrance, she saunters into the bank, gun tucked away in her purse, cell phone to her ear, and a shoebox in her hand.
She walks up to the counter. She puts her purse on there. She slowly pulls out a gun just a little bit to show the teller, just enough so that the teller knew she meant business.
Afraid for her life, the teller quickly does as she's told. With the box now overflowing with cash, Candice hops in the car with her man, and the two take off.
This time, they hit it big. She walked out with nearly $25,000.
It's another perfect bank robbery, but their luck might have finally run out.
What she didn't know was this time, the camera up behind the teller was getting a good picture of her.
So this particular bank had a more advanced security system. So the bank surveillance actually captured her face in full detail.
The cameras not only took a picture of her, but the outside was able to capture the car.
With this new evidence, local authorities team up with the FBI to hunt down this mystery female who's brazenly robbing banks. They send the latest bank surveillance footage of Candice and the getaway car to every television channel in the U.S.
Suddenly the news media catch on to this. This woman has been robbing these banks while using a cell phone, and we called her the cell phone bandit. The fact that there was video footage sent the story careening around the world.
Despite their brand new widescreen TV, Dave and Candice have no clue that federal agents are hot on their trail.
They were living in this Bonnie and Clyde fantasy world. They didn't know that they were plastered all over the 24-hour news cycle.
But only a few days after their fourth robbery, reality sets in. Dave's mother calls him after seeing Candice on the news, and he panics.
He'd been a good boy, he'd been a law-abiding guy, and he realized suddenly something clicked, that he needed to get back on the right track.
1 week after their fourth and final robbery, Dave turns himself in to the Fairfax County Police Station.
You're dealing with a young person. You're not dealing with a hardened criminal. The gig was up. The game is over.
And he immediately gives up Candice.
He flipped without hesitation and told them that it was his girlfriend. So the FBI and the police begin to stake out their apartment. Eventually, Candice shows up and she's arrested.
Realizing there's no way out, she comes clean. But like Dave, she doesn't hesitate to turn on her lover, saying it was all Dave's idea.
What if we rob a bank?
They were both charged with conspiracy to commit bank robbery and use of a firearm, which adds 5 years to any other crime.
They both plead guilty to the charges and are sentenced to 12 years without parole.
They're ordered to give back all the stuff that they had bought, but also to pay back the cash that they'd stolen from the banks. When they walk out of prison, they are responsible for repaying around $43,000.
For Candice, while she doesn't blame Dave for her choices, she regrets ever being involved in the robberies.
Candice was extremely remorseful. She knew that she had had this brilliant second chance at life. She had escaped Santa Fe for a second time, and she blew it.
Blinded by love, she now has to face the harsh consequences of everything she gave up for just under $50,000.
She was the face of the robberies. She had the most to lose. She risked it all because of her love for Dave. She risked her freedom, her livelihood, her family.
Candice so desperately wanted someone to love her, and she cared more about Dave and that relationship than she cared about herself, even though at the end of all of it, she completely lost her freedom. She lost 12 years of her life.
Candice Martinez cashed in her good sense so she could live a fairy tale life with her college sweetheart. In Hollywood, Florida, Genet Rembert desperately clings to a man who has a warped way of expressing his love. Growing up in Miami, Florida, Genet Rembert never knew what it was like to be part of a loving family.
She was one of 4 children that her mother had with 4 different men. Some of the other children lived with foster parents or with grandparents.
She was the cutest little girl. She had the widest smile. But behind that smile, my sister was really sad, and she was living a very hard life.
She's never even set eyes on her dad, and her mother is not the best caretaker, to say the least.
Genet wasn't fed or taken care of a lot. She would go to school and smell like urine and had to get sent home because she wasn't dressed properly.
At 6 years old, social services finally steps in, citing neglect. She's removed from her mother's care. As the years go by, the young girl bounces from foster homes to family members. At the young age of 15, she runs away to take her chances on the streets.
She just felt so unloved. She felt like, she had no one to turn to. So that's where she ran away in search of love.
She was just running away from that profound pain that she felt as a little girl. And she was just looking for a place, some place where she felt she truly belonged.
For the next 3 years, the troubled teen floats around the city, honing her self-destructive behavior.
She became a whole different person. She started doing really bad things.
She has no parental supervision around, has no family dynamics that keep her safe. So they end up consorting with people that are less law-abiding.
She did not have a job. She wasn't in school. She's sleeping over here on this couch. She's sleeping over here on that couch. She's using drugs.
To fund her drug habit, Genet sells the only thing she can, her body.
She starts prostituting for money, but she made the decision that that lifestyle was working for her, and that's what she did.
By the young age of 18, her life is in a downward spiral, and when it looks like things can't get much worse, she meets a charismatic man with a sadistic side.
Want this? No!
He was her whole world. Her boss, her daddy, her lover, all combined together.
He would snap his fingers and she would jump.
What's wrong with you?
In Miami, Florida, after years of running wild on the streets, 18-year-old Genet Rembert spends her days prostituting for drugs.
And I wouldn't say necessarily there's a reason why she did it, but that's just what she chose to do at the time. I was so worried about her. She felt like no one really loved her.
Genet was abandoned very early in her life, and therefore she started to develop this me against the world mentality. But all of that was a mask for what she truly felt, which was that she was alone.
And she is living pillar to post, sleeping here, sleeping there, using drugs, not connected to anything of real value. So one day, she's out looking for dope.
That's when friends tell her about a Haitian-born dealer, 31-year-old McKinley Desir. He's a one-stop shop to get your fix.
Thanks, dude. Take it easy.
Genet tracks him down in the parking lot of a local motel. She tells him she's looking to score cocaine and flashes some cash she earned turning tricks. But McKinley takes one look at her and says he has another payment planned in mind.
I want some more than your money.
He was a very nice-looking young man who knew how to talk to young women. He knew what to say, he knew how to say it. He was very effective.
McKinley had two sides to him. One, the personable side you would see when you first met him, and then after a while you would see the business side of him.
The wayward teenager has just unknowingly wandered into the trap of the ultimate street predator, a true hustler who slings drugs and pimps on the side.
He preyed on people who were insecure or didn't have a home or were looking for love.
And right away he sees that Genet is just his type.
He could see the need and the loss and the abandonment in her. It was probably in her eyes.
They drive 20 miles north to Hollywood, Florida, where he lives in a 2-bedroom apartment. Desperate to get high, and no stranger to selling her body, she agrees to swap sex for the drugs. The smooth Haitian shows her a tenderness she's never experienced. Afterward, McKinley makes his new girl a proposition she can't refuse.
McKinley invited Genet to live with him so she could have a household to live in, something that she didn't have before.
I get you the fix you need. Look out for you.
He's promising her all the drugs that she might need. He's good looking. He's got a nice car. He's saying all the right things.
The lost teenager can't believe her luck.
Genet was damaged emotionally. McKinley gave her this false sense of feeling secure that everything would be okay. And she came to call him daddy. And that's very symbolic because she never truly had her father in her life.
She was all in. She felt like she was gonna finally be at home and somebody was gonna love her.
She moves in, but McKinley makes it clear she must earn her keep.
And all she had to do was to sell her body, make some money.
She doesn't hesitate and does whatever he asks of her.
Yes, Daddy.
Before long, McKinley becomes more to Genet than just her pimp.
She fell in love with him. He saw that she's a prophet and that he can put more money in his pocket.
It's quite possible that she really did love him, but perhaps this was some sort of a Stockholm syndrome where a person who has the power of life and death over you, you see this person as a god, and you mistake whatever moments of kindness as they're perhaps caring about you, but they really don't.
Pretty soon, the silver-tongued hustler realizes that this girl is different.
It's not a bad idea.
She's very intelligent. and she's a go-getter. And McKinley saw that. McKinley saw that this is a woman that is business-minded, she's smart, and she's gonna make me money.
After just a few months, he gives his best girl even more responsibility. He promotes her to be his right-hand woman, the enforcer, someone to help him keep his stable of women in line. And she takes her new job as serious as the boss.
Come on,
He took that lifestyle that she enjoyed and took it up 10 notches.
She was a monster, the monster that he had wanted her to become.
In Hollywood, Florida, Genet Rembert finally feels like she's part of a family after her new pimp, McKinley Daddy Desir, promotes her.
She looked after the girls, explaining to them what they would need to be doing. It was her job to make sure that the girls gave the money and everything they received, and she would keep control of them.
I'll be watching you.
For the first time in her life, she felt like she was a part of something.
She jumps into her new job with both feet and proves herself right away, devising a way to drum up new business.
She created an email address and used that email address to create an account on the social bulletin board. Now, after Genet sets up the site, he would use her to take pictures of girls and post them for escort services.
Pretty soon, business is booming.
So Genet would get a response to her posting. You know, so guys looking for a date with these girls. She was in control of where the meet was going to be, or when the time was going to be.
But McKinley's stable of working girls aren't exactly willing recruits. Like Genet, most are addicts he lured in with the deadly combination of a free high and false hope.
He promised these girls a better life. He promised them that they'll have clothes, money, stability, things that they probably didn't have or that they looked forward to.
But then after the carrot comes the stick.
As soon as they grew comfort, he would pull them back and say, okay, time for you to go to work.
We need this.
To keep his girls in the family, the self-proclaimed daddy takes no chances.
He would keep the clothing for the girls, their phones, any of their personal articles in his house where he had control of them.
He padlocks the women in an efficiency attached to his apartment so they can't escape.
And then he would take them around to whatever motels or areas for these girls to have sex.
He keeps his girls docile with pills and crack cocaine. The only time they see the light of day is when he forces them to go to work.
The women, they were sleeping with 4 or 5 men a day, $60 to $100 a pop, but they didn't get any of the money.
While they're servicing the men, Genet embraces her role as enforcer, waiting in the bathroom to make sure everything goes as planned.
Well, Genet would follow whatever instruction McKinley gave her. If McKinley said to go slap the girl to keep her in line, she would do it.
Genet was on the team. She was willing to do whatever she needed to do for McKinley to be happy, for their business to be successful.
Because McKinley basically views the other women in the house as slaves, Genet was manipulated into thinking the same way, almost identifying with the aggressor, because she felt that he had saved her from a life of peril on the streets and owed that to him.
Together, they hold as many as 8 girls at a time against their will. McKinley does whatever it takes to keep them in line.
I would start yelling at them. When the yelling wasn't giving them the response that he needed, then hitting them was the next step. And that progressed all the way up to putting a gun to their head. One of the punishments he would do to them is put a gun to the side of their head and dry fire the gun.
They don't know if there's bullets in the chamber or what. But just imagine what that must have been like for these women. They didn't know if they were going to die locked up in this room.
For 3 years, their sex trade operation runs like a well-oiled machine, with McKinley at the helm and Genet by his side. The partnership is so strong, she even asks for a special ceremony.
I don't know if it was a legal wedding, but Genet wanted to get married, so it's a reassurance that he wasn't going to get rid of her, that he was going to keep her forever.
Then late one night that summer, Genet takes her loyalty to her new husband one step further. While 2 of their girls are resting in between Johns inside the efficiency, Daddy lets his guard down, and forgets to lock their door.
He had fallen asleep. Two of his captive women, Angel and Diamond, were there. They were awake. They chose that opportunity as a time to get some pills that they both wanted to take.
They sneak back to their room, but don't exactly cover their tracks. As soon as McKinley wakes up and sees his stash missing, there are only two possible culprits. Furious, he grabs the girls.
He called Genet. The four of them got into the car. The two captive women didn't know what was going on.
They drive down a dark, secluded street and arrive at an abandoned house. He orders his wife to discipline the girls.
Teach these girls a lesson.
Come on, get out.
Genet got Angel out of the car, took her into the house.
McKinley keeps Diamond in the car with him and waits. Inside the abandoned house, according to Angel, the enforcer beats her with her bare hands.
She ended up knocking one of her teeth out.
The behavior was escalating. There's only a finite time before something goes wrong.
She then wraps her hands around Angel's neck.
She was saying to her repeatedly, "Why did you disrespect Daddy?"
You think you're gonna disrespect Daddy? Huh?
Next to California and Texas, Florida has the third highest rate of reported sex trafficking cases per year in the United States.
We average about 400 cases. There's a very diverse population here, people who come from all over the world.
Many of the women and children involved as the victims come from the Caribbean, come from South America. They're down on their luck and therefore become at risk for these sexual predators. And it's a very serious problem.
Teach these girls a lesson.
In Hollywood, Florida, Genet Rembert is the enforcer in a prostitution ring. After beating down Angel, one of the girls that she and her husband, McKinley, Daddy Desir, hold captive, she wraps her hands around the girl's throat.
She ended up choking her into unconsciousness. And by the time the woman came to, they were on their way back to the car.
Genet then grabs their other captive, Diamond, and drags her into the house for her beating.
Meanwhile, Angel is in the car. Daddy told her to put her head down, and he's blasting her and telling her, "You better be glad that we didn't kill you."
The message is received.
With the threats they did to these girls was to let them know that if they didn't comply with what they wanted them to do, there were consequences, up until death.
Genet is so brainwashed by McKinley that she becomes an extension of him, and she does whatever he asks her to do, no questions asked. She wanted to show him that she was completely on his side.
Genet has never been a violent person, but when she got with McKinley, he hardened her. He made her someone she's not.
While this husband and wife team keep their girls in line, the Boynton Beach police are closing in. They have uncovered the online escort service ads that Genet has been posting and set up a sting operation.
We responded to an ad, and it was for 2 girls special. We had an undercover officer posed as a John, staying at a hotel. We had surveillance teams in place.
Genet and one of their girls show up to the motel room.
You could see that Genet was clearly in control of the conversation and what was going down. They discussed what sex act they were going to do and how much money it was.
With the deal in place, police swarm the hotel room and arrest both women. They're hauled down to the station for questioning. Genet is first up. During the sting, it was obvious she's the one in charge.
It became pretty clear to the police that Genet was the one behind those ads.
The hardened enforcer is calm and cool. She refuses to give up any details of their operation, including her husband.
She was loyal. I asked her if anybody else was involved in it, and she said solely herself.
But the other girl is visibly shaken. Seeing a chance to finally wake up from this nightmare, she tells investigators everything she knows about Genet and McKinley. As the girl talks, it becomes clear to police that this is more than just a simple prostitution case. And apparently, they aren't the only ones interested in the Haitian pimp.
We were contacted shortly after by the FBI, who, unbeknownst to us, was also working a case on McKinley. And we got together and spoke about my case and their cases.
The FBI have spoken with another victim that backs up all the claims against Genet and her daddy.
One of the girls who was being held hostage in McKinley's apartment got a hold of his phone and texted her mother about what was happening. So that fact, coupled with what happened with the arrest in the hotel room, is making it pretty clear to the authorities that there is a sex ring happening here.
Genet's instantly arrested and charged with sex trafficking. Realizing she's caught, she finally comes clean.
This agent got her to see the severity of the situation she was in. And so Genet, understanding and realizing that, knew that she really had no choice but to turn against McKinley.
I was just totally taken aback because I didn't know she was this far in. I didn't know she had became this person, and it was just so sad.
Investigators immediately hunt down McKinley outside of their home and also arrest him for sex trafficking. Although multiple women were victimized, only 2 are courageous enough to speak out. That spring, husband and wife go to trial and plead not guilty. McKinley Desir is convicted of 1 count of conspiracy to commit sex trafficking and 2 counts of sex trafficking by force, threats, fraud, or coercion, and is sentenced to life in prison.
Genet got convicted of 1 count of conspiracy of committing sex trafficking. She got 15 years for her role in trafficking these girls.
The 21-year-old now understands that her desperation to be part of a family and find love made her vulnerable to the likes of McKinley. She spends her time preparing for the day she will be released.
I understand that in prison she is thriving. She's getting some education. She feels true remorse for what she's done.
She's mentoring those who are with her. She knows that when she gets out, she wants a better life. She wants to be a model citizen.
Genet treated these women so badly, possibly because of her own upbringing and how dysfunctional that it was. And so she became desensitized to the feelings of others. Plus, McKinley was the only person who seemed to have validated her and given her a love that she never had in her life before.